welcome to the show. By cheer, give me a cheer if you've been to a Joker Club show before. Hooray! Give me a cheer if you've never been to a Joker Club show before. Hooray! Give me a cheer. Hooray! Comparing. I'm just basically here to be on before Ashley. I'm sure you're here to see Ash Frith in his show, which is the reason we're all here. Even I'm here to watch it, but I just get to be on first, just doing a little bit of material. It will be me and then him, so don't worry. He's coming. This isn't a trick. I haven't got you here under his friendship just to watch me do an hour of comedy. My name's Richard. Hello. I'll be talking to you. Hello. Before we get started, does anybody, apart from people who actually know me in real life, does anybody here know who I am? Do you know me? No. Some people do. No, that's fine. There's no reason why you should. It's just that when you do this sort of thing, like you do comedy and stand-up and things sort of for a living, you never know how famous you are. And I actually found out recently how famous I actually am, which is a thing you can't always do as a performer. Because I applied to go on the TV show Pointless. Because I'm a massive fan of Pointless. I'm a big fan of the TV show. Well, I'll go on Pointless, it'll be great, love it. I went on to apply, and they said you can't come on Pointless because you're too famous. You're too famous to be on normal Pointless. Because basically I've done 3 adverts. Have you seen those, the Reed adverts, where the guy I'm the guy who loves frogs. Previously I loved beef and lollipops, in case you're an advert purist or a historian. Just to let you know, I love frogs. That's right. So any young people out there looking to get into comedy, work hard, stay in school, one day. But they said because of that I couldn't do Pointless, because I was too famous. So I said, can I do Celebrity Pointless? And they said, no one has any idea who you are. So that's how famous I am. Too famous for Pointless, not famous enough for Celebrity Pointless. I have no idea what area of the alphabet that is, but it's probably very low. Very low. It's lovely to be here doing this. I'm aware if you do comedy, it's lovely to be here. It's quite a stock phrase. It's like, lovely to be here, lovely to be here. But you see, I have something in reputation on the circuit for being a bit of an alternative comedian, which, to be honest, doesn't mean anything because it's not 1983. What it basically means is I get asked to do loads and loads and loads of gigs that most normal comedians would never accept, and I do them. Often gladly. A couple of months ago, I did a gig at a science fiction convention. And I got to be honest with you, I thought that was going to be the easiest gig of my life. I just thought, my people, I am home. How can this possibly go badly? Well, the thing I forgot to appreciate about science fiction conventions is that people who like science fiction enough to actually go to a science fiction convention have no sense of humour about the thing they're desperately passionate about. And they don't enjoy some sarcastic fat man from Essex picking out plot holes, pointing out incongruities. They have a sense of zeal the conquistadors would find excessive. They're basically football hooligans, and to them the fact that Firefly only got 1 season is worse than England losing to Germany on penalties. So this is what I was up against. And it was a terrible gig. It was on 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is never a good time for comedy. It's bright, everyone's sober. The compere wasn't even a compere, just someone who knew someone who worked in a comic shop, and he really wanted to meet the actor David Collins. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the actor David Collins, but he was Silver in Sapphire and Steel. He's in the last ever episode of Blake 7. He's in 3 classic Doctor Who adventures, and he's the voice of Monkey. So fair enough, well worth an autograph, right? But I've had to come on to basically nothing. I'm just trying to get the crowd going. They're all very weird and socially awkward, and they've never been to a stand-up comedy gig before. It's like 400 weirdly dressed people going to church for the first time. They're supposed to stand up, join in, applause, sit down, people have no idea what's going on. So I'm on stage trying to go, hey, we're from the TV show, you know, get the energy up. There's a woman in the front row, right? Always talk to women at science fiction conventions. If they already like science fiction, it's half the battle already won. Now, I'm not suggesting they're all but mounted, but it is the main stumbling block I have to overcome in my day-to-day life. So I saw him in the front and I was like, what's your favourite TV show? He said, I I really like Star Trek. Now my mind's racing, not thinking, quick as a flash, I say, so you're a Trekkie? Whole room goes cold. She says, no, I'm a Trekker. Now, I've never heard that word before, and I'm aware that being live on stage at a science fiction convention is not the time to realise you have a fundamental gap in your basic knowledge of the subject. So I'm panicking and trying to think, what does he mean? Trekkie-Aussie fans, Kirk and Trekkie-Aussie fans are Picard and the other less important ones. I don't know, so I have to ask. So I said to her, what's the difference? And she said, Trekker is what people who like Star Trek call themselves. Trekkie is a derogatory term used to cause offence, like Jew. Now, I'm trying to keep the mood light, and I'm wondering if I should point out that putting on pointy ears and hanging around in a hotel in Hertfordshire for a weekend, and people thinking that's a bit silly, is not the same thing as the Holocaust. So believe me when I say, it is nice to be here, doing a real gig to real people. My main passion is films. I really like the cinema. Do you like films? Are you a fan of films? Like movies? You've seen films? You've heard of films? You're aware of this concept? Brilliant. It's really great. Moving pictures. What next? Do you like going to the cinema? Yeah, I recently refound my love of going to the cinema because I get to go during the day because I'm self-unemployed. It's brilliant. It's like being unemployed without any of the benefits. Literally none of the benefits of being unemployed. But I get to go to the cinema during the day when it's basically empty, which is the dream of going to the cinema. And I went to see this film in London. Went to see Predators. You know, it was out, it's Predators. I'm going to go and see it, even though it's going to be terrible. It was a 200-seat screen, like massive screen, and I got there really early, so I had the middle of the back row. That's my treat for getting there early. Middle of the back row, awesome, middle of the back row. There's about 20 people in the whole massive screen, and the film's just about to start, and this bloke comes in and sits right next to me. Right there. Not in a creepy 1950s handle the knee type way, just more sort of low-level autistic, didn't realise that was inappropriate kind of thing. And ordinarily I'd be too English and uptight and not quite sure how to cope with that. I'd spend the whole time staring at the floor like furious. I'm gonna blog about this. You have to know. Your hashtag is gonna be something else. Jesus. But I try something, and I wholeheartedly recommend you try this if it ever happens to you. Right? Just turn to that person who's sitting next to you, just turn to them and go, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck off! Always move. Now, I wouldn't suggest you try it every time you go into the cinema, or if seating's been allocated. It's a pretty awesome way to have almost the entire row to yourself. Have you ever ruined a film? Been like that person that ruins the cinematic experience? I've only ever done it once. I'm not proud of it, but it's just a really weird experience. I went to see the first Twilight film in the cinema. I don't know if you've seen the first Twilight film. It was a very awkward experience because it was basically me and then 14-year-old girls and their mums. So it's not my optimum sort of comfort zone. It was all very, very weird. Like, what's he doing here? The main thing about watching the first Twilight film in the cinema, because I'm not a snob, I'll give anything a go. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the good old days when the vampires just killed people and had a bit of a sword fight. But I thought I'd go and see it. You know, it's a vampire film. How you know. The main problem was, no one told me the first Twilight film wasn't supposed to be funny. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's hilarious. It's genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. There's a bit where someone says, are you hungry? And I said, no, my stomach's full with butterflies. Tell me that's not on purpose. That's fucking brilliant. I just laughed like a drain the entire time. If I'd been smoking a cigar, it would have been like Cape Fear. I'm not a big fan of music. You think you like music, you'd all say you like music, would you say that's a fair comment? I like music. I thought I liked music, then I realised I like 7 bands a lot. I can pretty much take or leave anything else. I found this out in a quite an awkward way. I was asked to do a gig for Love Music, Hate Racism. And I turned it down because I said, I don't really like enough music to justify my inclusion. So I already hate racism. Why do I have to like music as well? It seems really unfair. Particularly modern music, which is so sugary, manufactured, lacking any natural goodness. Generally, all of us try to keep it out of schools. I tried to listen to Jessie J's album on Spotify, my broadband connection started cutting itself. If you go on Amazon and look up Katy Perry's album, it says people who bought this also bought bleach and a straw. So it's not my most favourite thing. I won't lie to you, I mainly download all of my music. I don't know if you have the same thing. I actually bought an album the other day and it was a really weird, it was like a retro thing. I was like, how 90s? Because my friend didn't have it to download because he knew everyone would steal it. Smart. But I'm kind of rubbish at using. Are you like good at technology, or are you like me where you have to use it so you get by, even though you're a bit shit at it? I mean, not compared to my mum and dad. I'm like the Matrix compared to my parents because I can type with 10 digits and text with 2 thumbs. And my dad is he's one of those people. He's an earnest finger, as I describe it, where you get the text and he's mobile phone, remote control. 7 minutes later, you get a text message. Okay. And also, like, he doesn't really understand punctuation, so I get text messages going, "I'm outside?" Question mark. I'm like, "Are you?" It's like I've got Schrodinger's dad. And also, he doesn't understand the difference between 3D and 3G. He thinks it's like an iPhone thing, and every year they bring out another one. So last week he went into a shop, tried to buy a 3D Kindle. Came out with a book. I do say that I don't like music, but I have had one piece of amazing good fortune based on music channel I'll share with you before I leave and bring on the main attraction, Mr. Frith. But some of you look old enough, or at least unfortunate enough to remember a song that came out a good few years ago by the Tamperer that went, "If you buy this record, your life will be better, your life will be better, your life will be better." Well, I heard that and I thought, that sounds like a deal to me. So I rushed off down to the record shop, I parted my $1.99, I bought the disc, I took it home, I played it, and you know what happened? Nothing. My life changed in not one single way. I mean, I did get an extra large kebab for the price of a large kebab, but that's not really a major life improvement, is it? So I was quite annoyed about this, so I sued the record company. I had them in court under the Trade Description Act, and I said, if anything, my life has actually got worse due to the disappointment of it not getting any better. The record company completely agreed with me and gave me £46,000 in damages. Now, the cruel twist of fate, which some may even call irony, is that since that money has been deposited into my account, my life has actually got a lot better. So, I have to say, in actual fact, they're all right. That's my 99 I ever spent. That is pretty much it for me for the opening bit for you, but I figured before I go, I should probably tell a joke. Seems only fair, that might be what it is. I'll meet you halfway, you've been lovely. I've got 3 jokes, so I'll attempt to end on a barnstorming 3-joke finish, like a darts player. First one's about books, second one's about science, and the third one's about music. First one, books. True story. I've been reading that Othello. Oh, I can't put it down. It's so Moorish. Second one, science joke. True story. I've been trying to create my own universe at home, but I just haven't got the time or the space. For the match. Game, set and match, the plucky outsider from Essex. Music joke, true story. I conducted an orchestra last week. Has anyone here ever conducted an orchestra? Oh, you should. It's more fun than you can shake a stick at! Bullseye! Ladies and gentlemen, I have been here, and thank you for also being here. time for the next one. What I'd like to bring on, I didn't tell him I was doing this, I don't even know if I should, but I'm going to do it anyway. Film quotes. I like movies, we said. To make sure we're all properly, actually Frith is coming on stage. Could you all, in your best angriest Scottish voice, do a quote from the 300 for me? And after, I'm going to say, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. I want you all really loud in Scottish to shout out, "This is Sparta." And I'm going to bring Ashley Frith on for me. If you don't know the bit, "This is Sparta!" So if you can all do that, like you just kicked an Ethiopian down a well. Having the nerve to come and deliver you a message. What a prick. So after 3, all of you, you'll feel silly if you don't join in. Do the voice. Some of you may be angry in Scottish, I don't know. Some of you just use the voice so you keep up your sleeve for parties to, After 3, this is Sparta. Ready? 1, 2, 3. This is Sparta! Ladies and gentlemen, that's awesome. Will you please whoop and cheer and welcome can we please have a round of applause for the brilliant Richard Southend, everybody! Richard is the reason I do stand-up comedy, not in my first gig, so it's actually brilliant to have him here. They asked me to do, before we start, they asked me to do the basic safety announcement, so obviously it's pretty straightforward. Never run with scissors. Don't go back to a lit firework. And if you have any drink or drugs, please don't operate any heavy machinery. So, yeah, got that covered. That's brilliant. This is it's brilliant. Thank you all for coming. It's humbling to have so many people come to watch. Not so humbling that I haven't got a 5-foot poster of myself projectile to a wall, but humbling nonetheless. And no, it's brilliant. And basically, it's a show about me, which is nice, and it's about how in the last 12 months or so that I realised that for my entire life, my subconscious mind has been trying to undermine me, putting me in ridiculous situations, stupid things, making me say and do stupid things. And it's about how I basically realised that was happening, and I've tried to counteract it by trying to be a little bit more grown up. So basically, it's going to be about an hour of that. So I'll tell you, for an example, a couple of months ago, I was booked to do a private gig. Now, I would normally turn down private functions because they're always dreadful. Right? Any actor you can speak to will tell you private functions are terrible gigs. I would normally turn it down. My subconscious mind went, yeah, go on, we'll do it. So, we went along, and this gig was bad. You should know it was bad. There's 3 points that point out how bad it was. 1, it was 90% men. Now, as we all know, men are idiots. No way. Number 2, the show didn't start until 10:30 at night. Now, if you give idiots until 10:30 at night to drink, they become double idiots. Thirdly, and probably most importantly of all, it was in Ilford, in Essex, which, as you all know clearly, is hell on earth. In fact, the third point there is so bad that all I really need to do is say that third point, because the other 2 pointless once you know it's in Ilford. So 20 minutes into the gig, it was going as badly as I'd expected. Basically, what I'd managed to do was 20 minutes of feed lines to jokes, and then just heckle put-downs for the things that the double idiots were shouting at me. It was ridiculous, and I thought it couldn't get any worse. But I was wrong. Because 25 minutes into the gig, I was attacked on stage. Physically assaulted, thanks for laughing, that's fine. Physically assaulted by a man who sprung from the front row, about there, don't get any ideas, be sure you go. And he hit me in the face, grabbed me around the throat and tried to wrestle me to the floor. Genuine story. Oh, I should point out, he was dressed as the Cookie Monster. I know that it seems weird I didn't mention that at the start of the story, but that should go as an illustration as to how bad the gig was. It genuinely hadn't even occurred to me that that was weird, that there was a bloke dressed as a Cookie Monster. And as I say, he leapt out of the audience, and I had a decision to make, because he came from about that far away, and I had to decide, do I hit him? Because to be honest, I fancied my chances. He was off his face drunk, and I was sober. But I thought, I can't. Because I don't want to
on the circuit as the guy who knocked out the Cookie Monster. It's difficult to shake that sort of nonsense off. So what I did was I had to sort of let him attack me. And like I say, he hit me in the face, grabbed me around the throat, jumped up on me, wrapped his legs around me and tried to wrestle me to the floor. And after a few seconds, I thought, right, there's only one way I'm going to stop him here. And I just turned and went down on him. As I thought the words went down on him, I thought, you've got to think of something else, but I couldn't process it quickly enough. I thought I'd get away with it. I thought we were all adults. Clearly not. So, I thought, the only way I was going to stop him was by turning and falling down on him. So I fell down on top of him, and I was still angry, and I still couldn't hit him for the same reasons before. So what I did was, I grabbed hold of his feet, and I just folded them up over his head until they touched down on the floor behind him. And at that point, I realised that to the rest of the audience, it looked like we were acting out a sort of Kama Sutra for Muppets. And eventually we got separated and he got pulled away and I dusted myself off and I left the gig. I was furious, absolutely livid. And I was travelling home in another one of the acts and I went, oh God, I can't believe that happened. I'm absolutely furious. He thought it was fucking hilarious. Genuinely. It was the funniest thing that's ever happened. I said, it's not funny. And I was more annoyed really by the fact that I knew I'd find it funny in the coming days. But no one would believe that I was attacked by a 6-foot Cookie Monster. So I said to my mate, oh, it's ridiculous, no one will believe me. He went, yeah, they will. I said, they won't. He said, they will. I said, they won't. Nobody's going to believe I was attacked by a Cookie Monster. He said, they will. I said, what makes you so sure? And he said, because the Cookie Monster, he took this picture! There's genuinely a picture of me on the floor wrestling with the Cookie Monster. There is a hard copy of this available. If you want to see it in the break, get a closer look. It's genuine. All I've done is, it's a real picture. I've blurred out the faces so that I can show it. That's all it is. I was sort of relieved he got the picture, I'll be honest. But I said to him, what the fucking hell were you doing? Taking a picture while I was being attacked. Your friend was being attacked and you were taking a picture. What are you going to do with it? He went, I don't know, tweet it. Tweet it! It's ridiculous. I think that is the problem with society today. Because every time, like you go past a car crash, you'll see people filming it and taking pictures of it. Like people living their life through their phones and through their screens, basically. Me and my girlfriend, we went on a hot air balloon ride earlier in the year, or beginning of the end of last year. And we were up for 2 hours over the beautiful scenery, right? Hills and dales and moors as far as I could see, wildlife, it was incredible. Farmyards, farmyard animals, up with the birds. There was a bloke on that flight for an hour and a half who didn't look out over the edge once. He just filmed it all on his iPad. An hour and a half of on his iPad. And that affected me so much that now, in my house, me and my girlfriend, we've just got picture frames up on the wall. And in those picture frames, we've got postcards. And in those postcards, it just says things like, remember hot air ballooning in the Cotswolds. And sometimes we'll just look at it and we'll go, yeah, we do. We remember it because we paid attention. But people, the local hospital here, Southend Hospital, I don't know if you know this, and most people in from Southend. Southend Hospital has recently banned people from filming the birth of their children on their iPhones. Do you know that? That's not a thing you should have to ban, is it? If you're filming the birth of your child through your iPhone, you're missing the birth of your child. I genuinely don't know when it would be appropriate to show that footage either. Like, can you honestly imagine having the in-laws around and going, oh, should we put it on? Yeah? Oh, look, there's Debbie's vagina. I think she's about 4 centimetres dilated there. Never appropriate. Never going to be appropriate. Another thing as well is selfies. You know, the Oxford English Dictionary, they announced the other day that the word selfie was the biggest growing word in the English language in 2013. It grew by 13,500% in the last 12 months. A selfie, if you don't know, is just someone taking a picture of themselves on their phone and sending it to other people. It's ridiculous. And there's a new craze of naked selfies. But why are you doing that? You're never going to take a good picture of yourself naked on your iPhone. honestly wants to see something like this. Nobody. That's who. Nobody. My nan and granddad always had a very large collection of ping pong balls. But no ping pong table. So I've tried to grow up. I'm 34, so I've tried to, sort my subconscious mind out, take a bit of ownership of it, and act to my age. So the other day, it was a couple of months ago, I did possibly the most grown-up thing I've ever done, and I booked myself in for a prostate exam. I'm in the danger zone. Someone went, they're right to it. I assume we all know how the prostate exam takes place, but if you don't, I'll explain to you. There's nothing dirty or funny about it. Simple is, the doctor will pop his finger into your bottom, wriggle it around a little bit. After a few seconds, 99 times out of 100, he says you're fine, you go back to business. So, this one, I went to the doctor, was very grown up, very proud of himself. He was brilliant. Right from the start, he put me at ease. He said to me as I went in there, he went, you a little bit uncomfortable, a bit anxious about this? I went, yeah, I am actually, doctor, to be honest with you. And I swear this is true, he went, how do you think I feel? I'm about to put my finger in another man's arsehole. I said, fair play, doc, you win this one. He told me to go behind the curtain, take off my clothes and get up on the bench. Right? It was the instant that he poked his head round the curtain, I realised he hadn't meant to take off all of my clothes. Because I was there, stark bollock naked, in the fetal position. I looked back over my shoulder and went, oh, I meant to keep my top on. As I say, the procedure's very straightforward. He popped his finger in my bottom. It might have been two. I'm not sure. To be honest, it felt like a fist. It's very sensitive down there. And it was wriggling around for a little bit. And then he made a noise that no man ever wants to hear when he's in this position. He just went, oh. And he froze. I thought, well, I don't really know how to deal with this situation, to be honest. And a few seconds went by, and I still didn't move. And I thought, I'm going to have to check out what's going on. So I looked over my shoulder, and he was just there, finger still in my bottom, and he was just looking at his watch. And I thought, that is a very odd way of checking my pulse. But he didn't move. A few more seconds went by, and eventually, my eye caught the clock in the corner of the room. And it was at that point that I realised that my subconscious mind had booked me an appointment at the doctor's to get my prostate checked at 11 o'clock on the 11th day of the 11th month. And my doctor was observing a 2-minute silence whilst performing my prostate check. Even when I try to be grown up, he still gets it. Look, outwardly, I try and act like a grown up, I do, but inwardly, I'm still a child. I do things, I act like a child all the time. I play secret games. Like, men, show of hands, normally men in the room, how many men in this room play secret games that no one else knows you're playing? Nobody. And you know why? Because they're secret games. Well done then, you've passed the first test. Apart from Terrell, who failed. That's fine. They will strike you out. But it's fine. I want us to be able to talk about them, so I will tell you one of the ones I do, and hopefully that will sort of free you up to talk about some of the ones that you do as well. One of my favourite ones to do is, I flush the toilet as I start weeing, and then I race the flush. Anyone else now prepared to admit that they play any secret games? Lee Terrell, you definitely put your hand up. What secret game do you play?
I used to as a kid.
Very liquid in the system.
So make the next person play.
That's just horrible, isn't it? That's a reasonable one. That's not so much a game as just being an arse of a person playing a game. Anyone else got anything that they're prepared to admit? Try and put film quotes. And during a conversation, you'll drop a film quote. So that's a great one as well. Just do that. I also play a game where if I'm in the car in traffic or if I'm walking down the street, I'll give myself 10 people that walk past me, and I've got to choose one of them and marry them and spend the rest of my life with them. You ever do that? And it can be, if a woman goes by, you run the risk that the next 9 blokes are going to be blokes. And you have to go, oh well, I've got to pick him now, and you just go off and you marry him. It's just me. That's just me. Turns out that's just me. It's fine. What better place to find that out than when you're with 100 other people? stair as fast as you can. And some of you may not know it, but I'm actually the current #1 stair racing world champion. I've been doing it for so long, I've actually developed a little commentary team in my head. There's a main commentator guy, his name's Martin. But there's a co-commentator / analyst, he's Scottish, right? And I'll be there warming up, because I have to warm up before I do it. Genuinely, last week I was doing stair racing, I pulled my hamstring. That's how old I've become. I've been warming up, and the first commentator will kick in, and he'll say something like, "Here we have Frith, 34, but still very much in prime physical shape." And the other guy will kick in and go, "That's right, Martin! He may be 34 and can't..." He sounds more Scottish in my head, I'm now realising. Should have practiced the accents. He may be 34, he's gone Geordie, for fuck's sake. Imagine he sounds Scottish. He may be 34, Martin, but he's carrying this extra bit of weight round the middle. Yorkshire. But it gives him a very low centre of gravity. And he goes, "Oh, that's right. He's still very much the Peter Pan of the sport." And I've got a rival. He's a Russian lad. I can't pronounce his name though. It's one of those complicated Russian names. And he has just come back from serving a 6-month ban for using performance-enhancing escalators. So he's the one to beat. He's trying to win the crowd over. You know what I mean? He's been training extra hard. And I'll be warming up at the bottom of the stairs, and they'll say, "It's good to have Frith back. Of course, he had that year out of the sport while he rented that bungalow." Myself in the zone. Sometimes I spend so much time warming up, my girlfriend will walk into the hall and she'll go, "What the fucking hell are you doing?" And then the commentator will kick in and go, "Oh no, Martin! There's someone on the pitch! What's he going to do? He's in a very fine, delicate mental position. How's he going to cope?" And she'll walk by, and I've got to try and shake it off and get back in the zone. So I just, come on. And so what I do is, I do what an athlete does. I'll try and get the crowd on side, and I'll just go. When it builds to crescendo, I brace myself, and I race myself up the stairs as fast as I can. He goes, "Oh, Martin, it's unbelievable! It's a new world record! It's incredible!" And I go, "In your face, Russian lad! It's incredible!" But now, because I'm 34, I'll often get to the top of the stairs and go, the toilet's up there, so I'll just come in there. And then the Scottish commentator will kick in and he goes, 3, 2, 1, flush! So it's never a wasted trip. Never a wasted trip. Yeah, I'm 34. I'm not very social now. I've stopped. I've become old before my time. I've stopped socialising with friends. The only time I ever socialise now is when I'm sort of forced to do so by my girlfriend. She'll invite sort of her boyfriend to have play dates with me, like I'm 6 years old. The other day she was going to a concert and she said to me, "Gemma and Dan are coming over on Saturday. Dan is going to drive Gemma here and he'll wait with you while we're at the concert." I was like, "Oh no, I don't want Dan to come over." What's your problem with Dan? "I don't like Dan." What's the problem with Dan? "Oh, he smells funny." "What do you mean Dan smells funny? What does he smell of?" Fruit and spices." "Are you talking about Dan's aftershave?" "Yes, I'm talking about Dan's aftershave." "Why does Dan always have to wear so much aftershave?" "Come on, don't be ridiculous. You get on fine with Dan." "I won't. We've got nothing in common with Dan." "Dan likes football." "Does he?" Who does he support?" "England, I think." "Fucking hell! Dan doesn't like football! He's an idiot!" She'll say, "Oh, come on, it's not going to be for long. Dan will come over, and I'll get you the onion ring crisps you like and hot knobs. Chocolate ones, yes, chocolate ones. All right, Dan can come over." So Dan will come over, they'll come through the door, and you're going to say hello to Dan? "Oh, Dan, that's fine. It's very awkward." We'll go to the lounge, the girls will go off to the concert, we'll be sitting there, staring blank. It's very, very different. And then, a couple of hours later, my girlfriend will come home, and me and Dan will be inseparable. We'll be hugging each other which is a very convoluted game. 3 very difficult pages of rules you have to master. You can't get them wrong. The girls will go, come on, it's time to go. We go, no, please, no. 5 more minutes. And she go, oh, 5 more minutes. Oh, good, because we've got the semi-finals to play. So we'll play, and then 5 minutes will be up, and Gemma will go, come on, Dan, we've got to go. Do you need a toilet before we go? And then he'll be, oh, no, I don't. Come on, we've got a long journey. And so Dan will have to go to the toilet. By the time they leave, I'm just looking out the kitchen window, waving Dan off, wondering whether I'll ever see Dan again. Bye, Dad. Please go back. And then I go back to being miserable, which is fun. I'm 34. I'm going to keep saying it. It's really. The worst thing about being 34 is I remember my dad being 34. That is a stake into your heart. I'm at an age I remember my dad being. It's all happened at once. Like the other day, genuinely, I was in Tesco's. This has never happened before. I was in Tesco's, and for 10 minutes I stood in front of the Shreddies, and I couldn't decide whether to buy Shreddies or Tesco Lattice Wheatie Squares. I was like, I can't work it out. I even tried to convince my little boy that they tasted the same. I know they don't taste the same. No. Tesco Wheatie Lattice Squares taste like shit. I know that, but there's a price difference, isn't there? Shreddies, they're in a larger box, aren't they? They're a bit more expensive, but they come in a larger box. Tesco Wheatie Lattice Squares, they come in a smaller box, but they're a damn sight cheaper. I've got to weigh it up. The other day, for the first time ever, I noticed a little yellow square next to the price on each of those products. And I've never seen it before. I genuinely believe they were written in a font that only 30-somethings can see. And it was the price per 100 grams of that product. I was weighing up which food to buy on how much it cost per 100 grams. When did that happen to me? My mum and dad, right, they always had an electric blanket. I always thought that made them old. It doesn't. I bought an electric blanket the other day. I bought an electric blanket so that I can turn it on in the morning, so it warms my back up enough for me to physically be able to get out of bed in the mornings. 34 years old. I now do this thing. Please feel free to admit this if you do this as well, lads. I do this thing now. When I've gone for a wee and I've finished, I pop my cock and balls away. Literally just realised I don't know where my balls are at. Doesn't matter. I put my cock away, and just when I'm about to zip up, I take it back out again, and I let out the last bit of wee. It's a cock's length full of urine. I have to do that, genuinely, because otherwise I've always got a little wet patch on my arm. Does anyone else in the... I'm 34, I'm trying to trick my own penis into thinking I've finished urinating. It's just me, isn't it? The thing that's aged me the most of all, though, is pocket calls. We all know pocket calls when someone accidentally dials you from their pocket. Sometimes called a bum call because people will sit on their phone and dial. And because my name is Ash, I'm always top of everyone's name on their phone list. So when I was 18, that was fine. It kept me young. Because every Friday and Saturday night, I'd get a phone call, and it'd just be my drunk mate in a nightclub, and it'd be my mate going, you look really pretty. Can I give a bloody freezer? That's fine. That kept me young. Genuinely, a couple of Sundays ago, I got a phone call at 9 o'clock on a Sunday. And I knew it was a pocket call because there was a lot of rustling. I heard 2 voices. The first of which I didn't recognise. The second of which I knew straight away was one of my best mates. And this phone call aged me more than any other. Because the first voice said, next time on TV, Downton Abbey. What was worse was my mate then said, pause this, you go upstairs, get your onesie on, I'll put the kettle on and make a cup up. Suddenly I'm 34 years old. The most 34s I've ever been. But I tried. The best way, there is a way to keep yourself young. There's a foolproof way, and that is to have children. Because, especially if you're a man, all any man wants is a little boy. Because it means we get to act like little children ourselves. It's perfect. And I'm no different. I've got a little boy, it's brilliant. For example, this time last year, we had a bit of unexpected heavy snowfall. And as that came down, I was tucking my son into bed, and I said to him, So we get up early in the morning, have a snowball fight. He was like, yeah, he was so excited. Turns out he wasn't as excited as I was. Because whilst he was still in bed dreaming about Thomas the Tank Engine, I was out in the back garden at 5 AM building a sort of rudimentary fort. And by the time he did come bleary-eyed out the back door, I'd already stockpiled quite an impressive arsenal of snowballs. Now he's only very little, so he's never learned to dress for the conditions, whereas I'm 34 years old, as I say, so I came out wearing thermal underwear, hat, scarf, gloves. I was too warm, if anything. He's only little, so he was wearing his Mickey Mouse Crocs, his Bermuda shorts, and his iHeart Benidorm vest. Now, he can't really form a snowball properly, let alone throw it the required distance to hit my camp. So for me, it was easy. I was just pelting them into his little face. And there was cries, please stop, please stop. Well, I said to the neighbours, you mind your own fucking business. He admitted his willingly last night, and he's going to take his punishment like a man. Now, I sense maybe in the room some of you have turned on me. But don't. That is just, I'm getting it back for when I took him camping in the summer, right? We went camping. He woke up early in the morning. He was busting for a wee. Fair dues is what kids do. So we went to the toilet block on the site. It was rammed. Everyone else on the site had the same idea. It was 10 deep at the urinals. It took us ages for it to be his turn. And there was 10 deep at the urinals behind us then. So I knew I had to speed things up. So I helped him down with his little pajama bombs. And at that exact point, and with perfect comic timing, he looked over his shoulder at me and he went, what's your name, mate? Now that looks bad. What looks worse was I then scooped him up under my arm and marched him back to my tent. It's a good thing, actually. Yeah, another good thing. I get to, because I've got a little boy, I get to read comics and watch superhero films, which all men want to do. But it's difficult because people think that comics and superhero films are for children, but they're not. They're for grown adults. We all agree? Yeah. All men agree. Well done, thank you very much. I know, right, from that answer alone, I know that there is a question I can ask almost any man in this room tonight, and he will have already thought about the question, and he will have an answer for me based on it. I promise you this, I'm going to prove it now. Sir, then, what was your name? Tom. Nice to meet you, Tom. Classic name. Tom. If you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would it be? You don't know? Thank you very much, Tom. Move things along lovely. Cheers. Sir, there. I've left you, Tom. Brilliant. What's your name, sir? Tom? Colin. Classic name, Colin. Colin, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have? Flight. Do you see how quickly Colin answered that, Tom? Where would you fly to? Where's it? You don't know? Jesus Christ. You know, Colin, I've given you a superpower. I can't help but think you've wasted it somewhere. I asked this question before. Most people would say flight. It's a classic answer. Most people would then say, I don't know, rescue the war children of Somalia. You've gone, don't know. But I'll be honest with you, Colin, I picked you two out. I was going to ask this question to. Tom, you've let me down. Colin, I genuinely picked. I thought about you beforehand when Richard was on. I thought, what would Colin have? Your name's Colin. And I genuinely wrote it down. It was flight. You look, some people look like that's fine. You look like a flight kind of guy. And you notice I never asked any ladies this question because you ask a lady and they've never thought about it and you get a similar response to when you normally go there from home. I'm going to do it tonight, first time. Madam there, what's your name, please? It's fine. Kate? Yeah. Classic name, Kate. Well done. Kate, if you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would it be? I'd say. See, she doesn't know. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. Invisibility. Invisibility. Classic answer. What's your name, madam? Samantha. Classic name, Samantha. Invisibility. What would you do with invisibility? Spy on people. Samantha, I can answer your question now. Your boyfriend is cheating on you. So, she doesn't need a superpower. She doesn't need it. Yeah, invisibility. What's Dave up to? Oh, yeah, he's cheating on me. There he is. It's fine. It's fine. I think I do genuinely, I think invisibility is the best answer, the one that I would probably have. I wasn't entirely sure though, so to test it out, I just spent a day in a home for the blind. It's the same effect. I just move stuff around. Ah, fuck 'em up. Superheroes, you've got superheroes of course, but I genuinely think my son is going to be a super villain. And I think that because the other day I was tucking into bed and he looked me square in the eyes and he said, "The darkness is coming, Daddy." I went, "Is it, mate? Well done, that's good." I went to back under and he hadn't finished. He looked me square in the eyes into my soul and he went, "The darkness is coming, Daddy, and I'm the shadow talker." Right. There is no parenting manual that tells you how to deal with that situation. I was petrified. I went out of the room. I went, "All right, mate." Tucked him in a bit tighter so he couldn't escape. Went out of the room. I left all of the lights on in the house. I went downstairs. Women, you don't know men do this, but I had to close the lounge curtains. I was so scared, I couldn't look outside as I did it, just in case there was a ghost of a Victorian child on the hedge. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I couldn't sleep. I ended up phoning my mum and I went, "Mum, got a bit of bad news. The boy, I think, is possessed by the devil." And she said, "Don't be ridiculous. Don't be stupid. He's a perfectly normal little boy." I said, "Yeah, you're right. I should sort my life out." So I went up to bed and I was so scared, but eventually I never got to sleep. In the middle of the night, ladies and gentlemen, I woke up, opened my eyes, and his face was right there, almost touching mine. And he'd done that thing that only little boys can do, and he'd snuck into my room like a ninja and crept into the room without me hearing. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen of Southend, this is true, his head was on back to front. Now, it turns out he just put his pyjamas on right now. Jesus Christ. I nearly soiled the bed, I'll be honest with you. I thought, where did he get this sort of nonsense from? Where's he picking that up from? And I did a bit of investigating, and it turns out he's picking it up from the literature that I'm reading, the stories, the bedtime stories I'm reading. And I did a bit more poking around, and I found out, ladies and gentlemen, that there are none worse than these little fellas. Now, they're the Mr. Men. I'm sure you're all very aware of their work. This is Mr. Bump, for example. He's clumsy, he's careless, he struggles with day-to-day tasks, he's got poor eyesight. Now, I've had no formal medical training, but he's got a brain tumour, isn't he? At no point in this book does he get diagnosed with a brain tumour and get better. I thought about telling him my findings, but this book was written in 1978, so give me long guess. Mr. Forgetful, Alzheimer's. Nothing funny about Alzheimer's, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Grumpy, bipolar. 3 weeks after the publication of this book, Mr. Grumpy committed suicide due to depression. Sometimes I get a little hard rather than a laugh. I like it, but it's fine. Don't give him any sympathy, because he is the reason why Little Miss Sunshine became Little Miss Crackhorn. So fuck it. Horrible man. Horrible, horrible man. Detestable. It's not just the Mr. Men that are at it, though, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Little Misses too. Little Miss Curious there, married, happily or so we thought. Until on her 40th birthday party when she was caught upstairs licking out the au pair. Don't blame me, it's all in there, ladies and gentlemen. Little Miss Late Pregnancy Scare. But the worst, ladies and gentlemen, the worst of whom I'm sure you will agree are a very bad bunch is this little fella. Mr. Tickle. That's right, we've heard the story. This is a man who has had cosmetic surgery to lengthen his arms for the express purpose of touching children, ladies and gentlemen. It's documented in this book that Mr. Tickle goes to his local school where his friend, the teacher, lets him touch the children through an open window! No, Mr. Forgetful. Out silence. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go and get pissed up on booze now. So we're going to have a break for about 10 minutes, and thank you very much. We'll be back in a minute. Cheers.